Jackson Radio Show.
As we took these actions, we saw the U.S. economy grow consistently. We saw the longest streak of job creation in American history by far, a streak that still continues, by the way. Thanks, Obama.
Oh, yeah, that was Barack Obama trying to take credit for this economy, this robust economy, something he couldn't create, spent $1 trillion a year trying to do it and couldn't do it, had to rely on the white man. I wrote that piece, Why America Needs a White Republican President, and I stand by it. Look at all the things that are happening that they still negatively talk about Donald Trump. Negatively. But he goes on. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's a Kevin Jackson Radio Show. KJRadio.com if you want to call in, 844-551-8255. But let's remember, the reason why Barack Obama can't sell this lie that he wants to sell, it's very simple. He already told people he didn't know how to grow an economy. I just want to remind people what he said when Donald Trump made the comment that he would save Carrier.
But for those folks who've lost their job right now because a plant went down to Mexico, that isn't going to make you feel better. And so what we have to do is to make sure that folks are trained for the jobs that are coming in now, because some of those jobs of the past are just not going to come back. And when somebody says, like the person you just mentioned, who I'm not going to advertise for, that he's going to bring all these jobs back. Well, how exactly are you going to do that? What are you going to do? There's no answer to it. He just says, well, I'm going to negotiate a better deal. Well, how exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have? And usually the answer is he doesn't have an answer.
Well, he had an answer. And he did it. And you know what he did? He did it with ease. I can't even, guys, I'm going to talk about this for the next 20 years if I'm on the radio, whatever. Well, I hope I'm not, because I'm going to be on the radio in 20 years. I know that. But what I'll tell you is I will talk about this as long as it's relevant, because Barack Obama wants to take credit now for an economy when he couldn't even figure out how to save Carrier. And Trump saves it with ease. But here were the naysayers. When that happened, George Will, a never Trumper, here's what he had to say.
You mentioned in the previous panel that we just had the sort of deal-a-day approach of the president-elect, where he's descending on different companies and seemingly making ultimatums, but otherwise cutting deals with them and so forth. We have a quote that we'd like to show you. This is from a former Bush administration economic advisor, Greg Mankiw, who was quoted in the Washington Post as saying about this, quote, "When a chief exec is making individual calls to individual companies, he's in some sense acting like a central planner. We have a lot of history under communism that suggests it doesn't work well in practice, and that's the direction heading in as the president starts to weigh in on individual business decisions." George Will, do you agree?
I entirely agree. So far, Donald Trump's style is personal, not to say visceral, and ad hoc. And what that adds up to is a kind of use of presidential power absolutely unconstrained by law and statute and all those other niceties. The problem is when you have, in the Carrier case, political power used to bring pressure upon a privately held corporation that has a fiduciary duty to maximize shareholder value and drive them off with political pressure from making economic decisions about economic assets, you are, in effect, at the end of the day, getting the federal government involved in capital allocation. There's a name for that. It's called socialism.
Political power used to bring pressure upon a privately held corporation. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. George Will, anti-Trumper, mad, saying, what is the president supposed to do? He's supposed to do exactly that. He said, look, guys, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I will tell you this. If you decide you're going to move away, understand I'm going to wield influence to say companies that do this type of thing, you're not going to, we're not going to let you just come back over here and sell your products at a cheaper price and all these other things. And you're certainly not going to be getting the best of the government contracts. But that was considered communist. But I guarantee you, if Obama had done it, the left would be praising how good it was. And by the way, so would I. I would say it's about time these guys used it, leverage. That's what you do. It's called pulling the levers. But then Chris Hayes of MSNBC, here's what he had to say about Donald Trump saving Carrier.
Mr. Favorite Candidate Trump, the Carrier air conditioning plant in Indianapolis, which back in February, in an announcement that was caught on camera, told its workers they were up and moving production to Mexico.
It became clear that the best way to stay competitive and protect the business for long term is to move production from our facility in Indianapolis to Monterrey, Mexico.
The move would eliminate 1,400 jobs at least in Indianapolis over a 3-year timetable. There's also another factory nearby. But after Trump made Carrier part of his campaign platform, workers told NBC News they hoped he would deliver, though they were skeptical.
Now, let's say he does follow through. I'm assuming that would be a euphoric day for everyone at Carrier.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if he could come here and save these 1,400 jobs here tomorrow, I'll gladly vote for him again if he's up for re-election. But you know, I have to be skeptical, but I'm very hopeful that he can come through on these things he said he would do.
Late tonight, CNBC broke news Trump is heading to Indianapolis this Thursday to announce a deal that would apparently save 1,000 jobs. Carrier confirming that report, tweeting out late tonight, we were pleased to have reached a deal with President-elect Trump and, this is key, VP-elect Pence to keep close to 1,000 jobs in Indy. More details soon.
I love the part where he says, and this is key, Vice President Pence, because Chris Hayes didn't want to say this was a deal done by President Trump. No offense to Pence. This had nothing to do with him. This had to do with President Trump. Now, he did him a favor because it happened to be in Pence's home state. But it didn't matter whether Pence was VP or not. Carrier was going to go. When they mentioned it, Donald Trump said during the campaign, I know how to save him. I know how to keep him here. And everybody's like, what you going to do? And you heard Barack Obama. They always make these promises. Let me tell you the promises that Donald Trump has made. He promised to recognize Jerusalem and move our embassy to there, recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and move our embassy there. And he did it. 3 other presidents talked about it. You've seen the clips on this now. He talked about saving Carrier. He did it. He talked about reducing regulations for business and bringing trillions of dollars of productivity back into the economy by eradicating it from the paperwork, the red tape nightmare of government. He did it. He talked about reducing taxes and regulations so that business would want to operate in America. He's doing it. He talked about getting rid of Obamacare, letting it die on the vine so we could put something in that works. He's in the process of doing that. Let me tell you, pretty soon, when this man says, I want to start taking a look at blankety blank, people are going to stop being naysayers. That's the outcome. That's what all this is about. See, we are back. I want to hearken us back. This was the theme of the show today, hearkening back. Remember when? Remember when people's word meant something? Politicians actually went and did what they said they were going to do? Well, we're back in that time, folks, and it feels good.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.